What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. Sorry I haven't posted a video on my main channel in a while. It's just because I've been so busy with school and everything, because I had, like, 2 exams on the same week, and it got pretty hectic and pretty stressful, because I was busy studying. But apparently I did good on both of them, so yeah, that's always good. But I'm really happy and really excited to announce that it's finally October, one of my favorite times of the year. Mostly because of this. Candy corn. I get it every single October. We went to Target, and I was at Target with my adoptive dad, and they were selling candy corn, and I was like, Dad, we have to get candy corn, and he was like, Joe, don't you think that's a bit too much? And I was looking at him like this. And he's like, okay, good, I'll get it for you. It's fine. So yeah, candy corn. Since it's October and since it's getting closer to Halloween, like only 21 days away actually, I'm going to be talking about a pretty morbid topic. Now, it's not really as morbid as the other topics I talked about in Joe Winko Talk, but it's pretty darn morbid. So, high school. I remember high school. I started high school, my first year of high school, I started it in the 2010 to 2011 school year. Yeah, same as season 1 of The Walking Dead, so around that time. So September 2010 was when I started my first year at my new high school. Well, my only year at my new high school. I didn't even stay there for a whole year. I left a couple months afterwards. Because I went to a different high school, because the kids from my middle school, I didn't go to the same high school that they were going to. I asked my mom and dad to transfer me to a new high school because I kept getting bullied by the kids in my middle school. And I didn't want to go to the same high school as them. I wanted to go to a different high school with new kids so I can start fresh and start over. Look how well that's gone. So I started my freshman year at my new high school, and I started getting bullied a lot, and I didn't like it there, so I started in September of 2010. I left around, like, January to February of 2011. Like, they took me out of the school, and then I was put in an alternative school for people with autism, because I do have autism, and that's the reason why so many people were bullying me. My alternative school was so much better, but that's a whole nother video I'm not going to talk about. And, so they took me out of my old high school. I didn't tell anyone that I left, and I didn't contact anyone from my old high school ever again after that, because I wasn't friends with anyone at my old high school. So, but I did hear one rumor, because there was one person who I knew from family friends who knew a bunch of people from the high school I went to, that everyone at the high school apparently thought I was dead. They all thought that I died, because sometimes in high school when a student dies, sometimes they announce it, but sometimes they don't. It all depends on what their parents say and what the school policy is, but sometimes they don't always announce it when a student dies. So everyone at my old high school thought that I died, and they all thought I committed suicide from being bullied, and it's kind of... I'll eventually get to that, but I just brushed it off. I just heard that a bunch of people from my old high school, they say, oh, they don't see you anymore, they all think you're dead now, and I was like, oh, really? Very funny. So I just brushed it off, and a few years later, I was on Facebook, and I saw that my high school was having an open house meeting, and it was in October of 2012, so more than a year after I left, and more than a year since I contacted anyone from my old high school. I was really bored, and I thought, you know what, I might as well go back to my old high school, even though I was being bullied there, and even though I had no friends there. I might as well go back for the open house meeting, because I don't think anyone's going to bully me there at all either. And plus, that was when I was 16, because I was taken out of my high school when I was 14. But I was tougher when I was 16, so if anyone tried bullying me, well, I wouldn't hit them because I'm not allowed to do that, but I could handle them. So I went there to the open house meeting in October of 2012. When I walked into that school, everyone looked at me and everyone was like really freaked out. Like they were all like scared, and I was walking in and I was wondering, why is everyone looking at me and why is everyone so freaked out? And I saw these two popular girls who used to bully me in high school. They were tapping each other on the shoulder and they were going like, "Oh my god, do you see him? Do you see him? Yes, I see him. You see him too?" And I was like, what's going on? And then they were all like really scared and freaked out. And then I walked over to them and I was like, guys, what's wrong? And they were going like, "Get the hell away from us." And then I was like, "Oh, well, fine, okay." And I walked away. And then this girl, like, these people, they honestly looked freaked out. And, like, they all thought I was a ghost, because they all thought I was dead. And then this one girl, she walked up to me, and she goes, like, she asked me, "Who are you?" And I said, "You remember me, I'm Joe Winko, that guy who went to school with all of you during freshman year. I'm the guy who always used to wear the red shirts and red shorts every day." And then they said, "No, you're not. Joe Winko is dead." And I'm like, "What? No, I am not dead. I'm alive." And then they said, "This isn't funny. Who the hell are you?" And then I told her, "My name is Joe Winko. Don't you recognize me?" And then she says, "Joe Winko is dead. Type it in on Google search and you'll find it." And then eventually, they all started acting so stupid. They honestly were freaked out. It didn't seem like it was a joke at all. It seems like they really were freaked out. So I just said, "Okay, that's enough. I'm going home." Called my adoptive parents. They came by, picked me up, brought me home. But then I got curious that night, and I was like, what does she mean? Joe Winko is dead. Type it in on Google search. I typed it in on Google search. I typed it in on Facebook search. It's not up there anymore, but you will not believe the stuff I found. It's absolutely ridiculous what these kids typed. There was this one blog post. It's been deleted, but there was this one blog post that I found typed online, which was apparently supposed to be a newspaper article, but it was fake, obviously. Here's what it was titled. I still have it saved. It's been deleted offline, but I still have it saved because I copied and pasted it because I thought it was interesting for some reason. But here it is. I still have it right now. Joe Winko, age 14, dies in a grisly suicide incident. Okay, and it's dated February 2012. I left my high school in like January of 2011, so they all think I died a year after I left my high school? I don't know. Let me just keep reading it. Alright. Highwood, Montana, Associated Press. Like anything from Montana would make Associated Press. Let me keep reading. Family and friends mourned the death of a Wisconsin teenager, Joe Winko, who died instantly on February 22nd, 2012, when he allegedly committed suicide by diving headfirst into a malfunctioning wood chipper. He was pronounced dead by the local paramedics. If someone jumped inside a malfunctioning wood chipper, malfunctioning means a wood chipper. If a wood chipper is malfunctioning, that means it's not working, so how the hell would I die from jumping inside of a wood chipper that's not working? I mean, if it was working, I definitely would die, but I don't know. Let me keep reading. The Winko family was visiting relatives who lived in a farm in the outskirts of Highwood, Montana. How could you grow anything in the... Never mind. Joe Winko slept inside the first floor guest room, while the rest of the family members slept upstairs. Subsequent details are unclear, but apparently Joe Winko snuck out of the house shortly before 5:30 a.m. His cousin, Leon Winko, who doesn't exist and who was made up just for this news story fake thing, awoke when he heard the noise of the wood chipper running from outside the barn. When he arrived at the area, he discovered the blood splattered on and outside the wood chipper discharge chute. He immediately called 911. Oh, pretty gruesome news article, but I still think it's interesting. When the police arrived, they identified the corpse as Joe Winko. I love how they worded that. A suicide note was recovered from the scene, which appeared to be written by Joe Winko. Because of this, the police are assuming his death was an intentional suicide. The sheriff also stated that there was nothing suspicious or accidental about this incident. It's absolutely horrible that he got this depressed, stated Bo Winko, Joe Winko's cousin. Another cousin who also does not exist, who was just made up just for this news story that some 16 or 15-year-old wrote. He was an amazing young man, and in death I hope he escaped all his problems that haunted him throughout his life. Who the hell would say that about a cousin who killed themselves by jumping inside of a wood chipper? Seriously. Okay. No memorial services shall be held as his remains have already been cremated. Well, yeah, but if someone died by jumping inside of a wood chipper, I hope you would have them cremated, but no memorial service? What the hell is up with that? That was obviously written by someone I went to school with. Not everyone believed the rumor, obviously. I don't know who wrote that news article. Some crazy person probably did. But that's really messed up that you typed something about someone and posted online. If I would have knew who wrote that news article, I could have brought them to court and sued them. Not sure if I would have got any money, though. Judge Judy probably wouldn't give a crap about that. She'd probably call me an idiot and tell me to leave. But that's really messed up. And also, that wasn't the only thing I found. I remember distinctively, like, a bunch of pages I found on Facebook, like Rest in Peace Joe Winko, and everyone was typing in Rest in Peace Joe Winko. And there was like at least 3 or 2 memorial pages that said Rest in Peace Joe Winko, we all miss you Joe Winko, we all feel guilty Joe Winko. And there was one memorial page that stood out to me the most. Well, it wasn't really a memorial page because it had a bunch of mean stuff typed about me on it. Was Rest in Pieces Joe Winko. All the pages were eventually deleted. Suspiciously, all the pages were eventually deleted after I attended that open house meeting in 2012. They were all deleted from Facebook in like weeks afterwards, like simultaneously. And I was just thinking, what the hell? Why do these kids must have a lot of time on their hands to focus on someone who was so unpopular, someone who was bullied and rejected by everyone who he went to high school with. Yet they always excluded me from their parties, from their games they used to play. When they used to hang out at the mall on Saturday nights, they would never invite me. But yet they go as far as making multiple memorial pages, even though a lot of them were mocking me and making fun of me, typing a fake newspaper article saying that I killed myself by jumping inside of a wood chipper while I was visiting relatives in Montana. That'd be messed up if someone actually did that, too. But yet they do all of that, but they have too much time on their hands. The neighborhood I live in is full of snobs. I don't know what the hell is wrong with all of them. But all the pages were eventually deleted, and well, yeah, I don't, either because they knew I was actually alive, or because they knew that I would eventually find them and that they would get in trouble if I found them. So I think that's why they were all deleted. But yeah, but if I really did die, that would have been an extremely tragic loss. Because, you may not believe it, but I actually saved lives before. And I saved lives before in real life. Well, I only saved one life, actually. But it still counts as something. I remember back when I was in 3rd grade at St. Sherry's, my Catholic school that I used to go to, it was during science class. I saved this one girl's life, this one girl who was in my class. Her name was Natalie. I saved her life one day because the teacher was having us study plants and everything, and we were looking at them with microphones, I mean, not microphones, with microscopes and magnifying glasses. I couldn't see anything except for a bunch of green, but apparently we were supposed to learn something from that. And we were looking at they brought in a cactus one day, and it was in like a potted cactus. This huge potted cactus. The staff members helped bring it in, and it was like this really tall cactus, and we had to examine the cactus, and we were peeling off pieces of the cactus and looking at it with magnifying glasses, and it was we were all sitting around the cactus, writing down random stuff. I don't know what the heck we were writing down, taking notes and everything on the cactus. And there are these two twins who were always roughhousing all the time. They were always shoving each other and pushing each other. They weren't bullying each other. They were just being funny and playing around. But the teacher always got mad at them whenever they did. And then what happened was the one twin, he shoved his twin brother into the cactus, and he bumped into the cactus, but he didn't fall down on the cactus. He bumped into the cactus, and then he fell on the floor. And then the cactus was going to fall the opposite direction, not towards him, but the opposite direction. And the cactus was going to fall down. And Natalie was sitting right by the cactus, and where the cactus would have landed. She was sitting right near the cactus, and the cactus was going to fall on her, and then I heard this girl scream, "Natalie, look out!" And the cactus was going to fall on her, and then she was sitting there, like she was sitting on the floor, but then she was posed in like that semi-typical helpless female pose, like when she's looking up at a killer, except she was looking up at a huge cactus that was going to land on her. She was looking up at the cactus like this. She was going like, oh my god! And then, but I came in to the rescue, I grabbed her by her shoulders, and I pulled her out of the way quick, but apparently I didn't pull her out of the way quick enough. The cactus would have landed on her face, but it didn't. It landed on her leg instead, and she was sitting there, like, she had her leg out like this, and the cactus just came down and landed on her leg. And it was that kind of cactus that has the long spikes on it, like the long needle-like spikes. And the cactus landed on her leg, and next thing I know, she's sitting there, her eyes are wide open, her face is blood red, and she's screaming, and with the cactus on her leg. And when I say that she's screaming, I don't mean like, ah, 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 I mean like one long straight shot scream, like, ah, like that's how she was screaming. She was like, ah, and I remember sitting there, we were all looking at her. Even the teacher wasn't doing anything except after like 20 seconds she came and tried to get the cactus off her leg. But she was sitting there screaming, and I'm sitting there wondering, how on earth does this chick have that much lung capacity to scream that long? She was screaming like, ah! And you can see tears running down her eyes, and her face was blood red. And she was sitting there screaming her head off with a 7-foot, 295-pound saguaro cactus on her leg. And she was going like, ah! And eventually, we had to call the staff to help us get the cactus off her leg. And then, they had to carry her to the health room, and they had to like get tweezers and pull out all the needles that were jammed in her leg from the cactus falling on her leg, and like that was shocking, and everyone was going like, is she gonna be okay? And then they said, oh, she'll be fine. And then I said, and then I was asking, she isn't gonna die, is she? Because this happened in 3rd grade. My 9-year-old autistic mind, I was actually dumb enough to think that cactus spikes were poisonous. And I was asking them, aren't cactus spikes poisonous? Can't they get her some anti-venom? And And then the teacher was going like, no, Joe, cactus spikes are not poisonous. You really think I would bring in a poisonous cactus for all you guys to look at? And I was like, okay. And then, but then that same day, we were outside for recess, and because of my autism mind, I always tend to talk about stuff that I think is interesting. Like, I always tend to, like, repeat it over and over again. So I was running around outside, and I was going up to the other random kids who were playing outside, and I was telling all of them, hey, a cactus landed on Natalie. Hey, a cactus landed on Natalie. Did you hear? A cactus landed on Natalie. And then they were all going like, oh, Joe, what you're saying is so stupid. That didn't happen. No cactus landed on Natalie. And then the other kids were running up and they were saying, but he's actually telling the truth. A cactus really did land on Natalie. I saw it happen. Joe pulled her out of the way. And then they said, well, if cactus landed on Natalie, she would have been dead. And they said, no, the cactus only landed on her leg. It didn't land on her face or anything. Otherwise, she would have died. And they said, really? Well then, Joe, you saved Natalie's life. You saved Natalie's life from a cactus. And then I was thinking about that all day. I saved a girl's life from a cactus. And then I felt so proud of myself because I actually saved someone's life. And I came home from school that day and I told my adoptive parents, Mom, Dad, I saved a girl's life from a cactus. And they were going like, oh, you did? That's very good, Joe. And I was like, oh, well, okay then. And that's what I always say. I saved a girl's life from a cactus. So that's why, see, that boosted my self-esteem. I actually felt like I was important because I actually saved a girl's life from a cactus. And when I read that article, I felt sad and I said, what happened in that article, if what happened in that newspaper article really did happen in real life, then that girl would not be alive today. Oh, wait a second. Actually, she would be alive today because that whole cactus incident that happened when I was in 3rd grade, that was in the 2004 to 2005 school year. And apparently, according to the article, the fake newspaper article, I didn't die in the wood chipper till year 2012. So, yeah, she would have been alive. But it still would have been a tragic loss. Even though that's the only life I've ever saved in my whole entire life. It still would have been a tragic loss, though. And, so yeah, tell me what you think of that. What do you think of that whole newspaper article? Do you really think I could have sued? If I found out who wrote that article, I could have sued them? They took it down offline now. You can't find it anymore. And all those memorial pages they made out of me, they took those down, too. And they honestly thought I was dead, too, because this one girl was typing in, you guys are so bogus. Joe Winko is dead. Can't you just leave him alone? You bullied him enough while he was alive, and even after death, you still continue to stalk, you still continue to taunt him? You guys are so evil. I hope you all burn in hell. That's what one girl typed in. I didn't know who that girl was, though. And, so yeah. Share your thoughts on everything I talked about, seriously, if you guys actually listened to everything I talked about. So, on a more positive note, my new Grand Theft Auto San Andreas horror movie, The Night Striker, is still on its way. I'm filming it with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And I have, like, a whole bunch of scenes done, but there's still a lot left that I need to go. I really wanted to finish it by September, but, I don't know, it can be one of my Halloween releases. So, here's a sneak peek of my Night Striker movie. Here's a sneak peek of a scene from my Grand Theft Auto Night Striker horror movie, which is coming soon to YouTube, so check it out. Hello?
Hello, Joe Winko. You seem pretty upset right now.
Who is this?
Don't you remember me? 10 years ago, your adoptive family?
Cut it out! That isn't funny!
I'd watch your back if I were you, Joe. You're next on the list.
creepy, isn't it? I've actually been posting a lot of information and a lot of behind-the-scenes pictures on Instagram from behind the scenes of the Night Striker, so please follow me on Instagram. So, yeah, that's basically it. So don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter, and follow me on Instagram, seriously, people. And don't forget to follow me on Tumblr, too, because my Tumblr is like a graveyard. No one ever likes or shares any of the stuff I post. Well, some people do. So shout out to the people on Tumblr who actually do like and share my stuff. So yeah. Plus, there's not enough Joe Winko hashtags out there, except for the ones I made. It sucks, but oh well. So that's basically it. So don't forget to do everything I told you to do. And yeah, have a nice Halloween. So peace out, people.